What's up, YouTube? Just chike. Um, as you can see, I have a pretty big chest, right? And to be honest, my whole life I've had a pretty big chest. Ever since I started working out, my chest has grown and developed pretty well. And although it has a lot to do with how it is I train, I just want to give a quick disclaimer: genetics do matter. They just matter. I'm Nigerian. We have pretty good chest genetics. I know Germans do too, but that has a lot to do with my chest growth. But still, you can offset how well or how fast you can still improve, like how well and how fast your chest will grow if you train properly. And I want to give you the tips as to how you can train your chest properly so that you can also build a bigger chest faster. Genetics do matter, but you have to learn to work with what you got. It doesn't really matter what your genetics are. If you train and you eat and you rest properly and you recover properly, you're going to make the gains. So here I'm just going to show you my strategy for building a bigger chest. And before we get into that, I want to explain what hypertrophy is, the best way to get to hypertrophy, and just understand like the science of it and how to apply that to chest growth and a chest workout. But before we begin on that, just in case you're new to my channel, my name is Chike. I built an aesthetic body and I've been fitness pretty much my whole life. I'm pretty much a gym rat at heart. And as you can see, I've been able to build a pretty decent, pretty nice physique, even to the point where sometimes people think that I'm not natural, but I actually am a natural lifter and I've just lifted my entire life and it's my passion. And even if I didn't have this channel, I would still lift until I'm in my late 50s and 60s because I'm just a gym rat at heart. And I want to compile all the knowledge that I've gathered over the past 10 years of me lifting and to just put it on this channel. And not only that, but give you the sort of mindset, insight, and motivation for becoming somebody who's just made a lifelong decision, because lifting isn't about you getting fit for the summer. It's just a lifelong decision. So to start off in the video with, the best way to build size is to tire your muscles out, and you want to do circuit training. Now, if you don't understand what circuits are, it's a workout structured in which you have multiple workouts, but you make that one set. So for example, the circuit that I would advocate to maximize chest growth would be dumbbell presses, flat DB presses, circuited with push-ups, and then some cable flies. And you want all that to be in the high rep range. Of course, with push-ups, what I would recommend is you do 30% of your maximum amount of push-ups. So if you get your maximum amount of push-ups, times that by 0.3 on a calculator, and then round that up, do that amount of push-ups that you have. So for example, if you do 60 push-ups, and you would then do 20 push-ups per set. But the point is to, you want to tire your muscles out as much as you possibly can and optimize for range of motion and volume. And the reason why I say dumbbells are king when it comes to building chest size is because dumbbells allow for a full range of motion and they isolate each pec. So when it comes down to barbells, oftentimes people will find that their other hand isn't as strong as their right, or their non-dominant hand isn't as strong as their dominant hand. And that's why it's important to train dumbbells, because you want each pec to get the same amount of work in. So you want to do dumbbell presses, 8 to 12 rep range. Push-ups, you can do 30% of your maximum amount of push-ups. If you can do 90 push-ups in one sitting, then do 30. And then you want to do and then on top of that, you want to do the cables so that you can just have something that's really good for maximizing tension. And then you can even take this routine and you can do an incline variation in which you do incline DB presses and then you do push-ups on a decline. And then you can also do cables going up like this to optimize for your upper chest contraction like that. But to be honest, it really doesn't matter exactly what routine you get. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit you and act like this is the routine. It really just depends on what works for you. My whole thing is just the strategy. That's the strategy behind it. You want, highly recommend circuits. And that was just the routine there. If you want to take that knowledge and click off of the video now, you can. But now I want to explain why this works and the science behind hypertrophy. And it starts with this thing in the muscle fibers called sarcoplasm. And what sarcoplasm is the fluid membrane that's covering myofibrils, which by this time, if you're a frequenter of my channel, if you often come to my channel, you understand what myofibrils are. But if you don't, myofibrils are contractile cords that all come together and make up the muscle fiber. It's the muscle fiber. And what happens is that each of those tiny cords, the more that they get stressed out through high strength resistance training, the thicker and the stronger they get. So myofibril growth is a muscular adaptation. It's an adaptation. When you think about adaptation, adaptation is a response to stimulus in your environment. The myofibrils in your muscles are responding to an environment in which you're putting heavy weight on the bar, so they get stronger and denser. However, we want to focus on sarcoplasmic adaptation, and I'm going to explain why. The muscle isn't just myofibrils, but it's also the sarcoplasm, which is the fluid, which contains water, glycogen, creatine, ATP, and phosphate. There's tons of chemicals that are in that that plasm, and what it does, it just feeds the muscles energy. It gives the muscles energy to move and to do certain things and do certain movements. What happens is when your body moves and when it's consuming a lot of energy, when it's metabolically being demanded, it gets tired. But that's where the pump comes in. Get you a pull-up bar, do some push-ups, and just make a circuit of that. Like do pull-ups and push-ups back to back. You're going to have a pump probably by the second set first. Like the first time you do it, you're going to have a pump. And what a pump is it makes you look larger. Your muscles have swelling. Well, that's actually sarcoplasmic fluid filling up your muscles. That's water. And that's why people say creatine, oh, it brings water to your muscles. Kind of makes sense, but it's actually the sarcoplasm taking the creatine that you have and moving it to your muscles for ATP. Because you have more creatine in your system, your sarcoplasm needs to recruit more of itself to basically be summoned by your muscles to do more work. So what does this mean? Well, sarcoplasm is summoned or recruited by the muscles by being metabolically demanded. So you need to do more metabolically demanding workouts, aka get tired. And that's what circuits are really good at. You could do a circuit of just push-ups and pull-ups and you'll get the craziest pump of your life. And this is something that I've done growing up because I didn't have a gym growing up. I had push-ups, pull-ups, I had like a little bench. And then once I got a little old enough, I was at like 16, I was able to go to a decent gym and all these different things. But I was mainly doing hypertrophy, fucking fly flew in the video, hypertrophy because of my limited resources. And I looked bigger. I looked stronger than I actually was. Like I was just big, but I wasn't as strong as some of these kids who, had a nice luxury gym and stuff. And they just focused on stacking numbers on bench press, optimizing for strength. Now I do both. And you want to do both. Like you don't just want to do lightweight high reps. And again, the best way to do that to optimize for hypertrophy and getting your muscles tired and for them to be metabolically demanding your circuits. But you don't want to just do that. You want to cycle off of that and then also return to strength training because now my chest is solid. Now it's solid. It's not just fluid because when the pump goes away, like you're not as big as you are when your pump goes away. You kind of like shrink down a little bit. But your myofibrils did grow. Like the size that I have now is because my muscle fibers just got thicker. My muscle fibers are thicker, but you also want them to be dense to sum it up. You want the best of both worlds. So do a circuit, do the dumbbells and the push-ups and the cables. Those are like, I think, the 3 best exercises that you can do for size. Like cable flies are amazing. Push-ups are mandatory. It's not just about doing calisthenics to stay in shape and look lean and look good. But push-ups are just a universal chest builder. There's even guys that I've seen on YouTube that literally built their chest just doing push-ups till they crap themselves. You want to do push-ups. Like push-ups are just a mandatory. And then dumbbells, because dumbbells are great for aesthetics and getting a full range of motion. And then after 3 months, cycle back on to doing more strength building. You can do strength building recommended with barbells, just depending on what's comfortable for you. But this stuff really isn't complicated. And then of course you have to eat in a surplus. Make sure you get 8 hours of sleep, muscle protein synthesis, yada, yada, yada. I guess I can say a little bit about what to eat. I don't want to go in a spiel about eating whole foods. It's pretty kind of common sense about what you should eat. You want to eat in a surplus and eat whole food stuff that's not like grown in a lab or anything. Don't dirty bulk. I've never dirty bulked. I don't know. Like don't dirty bulk. But casein, if you're trying to build mass, casein protein is really good because it has more carbs and fats in it. And if you have casein protein, preferably, actually, I'm just going to tell you what to do. Before bed, casein protein. It's going to help you gain more mass. So mass gainer protein. Other than that, guys, that's it for the video. If you want to learn more, go ahead and click on this one. Goodbye.